Hello my beauties and welcome back to the channel. I am Cher. Today we are going to be sharing my eyeshadow palette rankings video of the month. I usually do this each month. We take all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have worn over the last month or so and I attempt to rank them in order of least favorite to favorite, and I try to share why. So if that is your thing and you love watching eyeshadow palettes and also checking out the looks that I've made with the eyeshadow palettes, I do include that as well. Stick around and we'll dive right on into it. I think you guys are going to guess so easily what my last rank is because it tends to be my last in every video because you guys have seen this one so many times now. The ColourPop Quad. I always talk about the down to earth. I include this even though I'm not really using it for eyeshadow. I just realized that my brow fuzz is still in there and it's stuck. Oh well. Anyway, it's called Down to Earth ColourPop Quad. I use it for eyeliner mostly. It does make other fun like smoky looks, but for the most part, I use this all the time as my eyeliner. I'm using it right now. It's the easiest to work with for me to do like a dark brown or a black. And these are all the perfect colors for what I would want to use as more of my eyeliners around my eyes. So I rank it last, not because of functionality. It's very functional for me and it's perfect for travel. It's compact and it sits right here on my vanity so that I can reach for it in my drawers there and grab it out when it comes time for eyeliner. I really prefer this over most liquid or regular like gel or pencil eyeliners, honestly. But anyway, so it's very functional, but it's ranked last because it's just not as exciting as all the other ones because it's more functional than an exciting palette, you know? Now that being said, as part of kind of my conscious beauty quest, I am really looking a lot at like minimalist beauty as well. Things that are just easy to be like a one and done or just no wasting. You can use different pieces of makeup for other things. And so that's a great example of it. Like you can take that when you travel or just one and done. You have like one palette that can do your eyeshadow and your eyeliner too. So ideas for that. So the next one that I'm ranking is another example of that. Although it's broken, it did shatter at some point and I don't remember what happened. I took this. Okay, it's not a palette, I know. I'm kind of including single eyeshadows too because they make fun looks and sometimes I pair other palettes with it. So this is what I took to Costa Rica with me. I didn't take a palette to Costa Rica. I just used this in my ColourPop Quad. And so if I needed like a little extra depth around the V and like shadows and stuff, I used the dark colors out of the quad and then I used this on my eyes and it was perfect. And I really like the color on it. It's that perfect neutral but with shimmer. And if you know me, I'm a shimmer girl. We aren't taking just a matte anywhere. I'm not a matte girl. I'm a shimmer. So this is always like my perfect color because it's like neutral that goes with everything. It gives me a little pop of shimmer. One and done, I'm out the door. So it's from Medusa's Makeup and I got it, I might have gotten it last month. It's called Brunch and it's a baked eyeshadow, but it's really like extra pop of shimmer. I really love it. And what I love about Medusa's Makeup is that they are vegan and cruelty free. And I get their makeup box every month gifted by them. And this came in it, I think, last month. All right, another example of kind of minimalist where I wasn't really using something that was supposed to be an eyeshadow palette, but I used it on my eyes. So that's my new Hourglass Lotus palette. I did share with you guys, I got this for Christmas. I got it with an Ulta gift card, and this is what I picked because I'd had my eye on it. And it's just, I think it's the packaging that drew me in, and I haven't done a lot of Hourglass, so I really wanted to try it. And it's so beautiful. As far as the colors go on me, like, I wouldn't say it was just like, oh, that great. I didn't dislike it, but I wasn't just over the moon once I had it on like I was about the packaging. I just love the like flowers on it. I wanted the flower packaging. I know that it probably wasn't the right skin tone choices for me. This is a deeper one, I think, but I think it was just, I wanted this packaging though. And I am I'm drawn to packaging, y'all. I am such a sucker for packaging. It could be like the crappiest formula, but if it looks pretty, I'm gonna grab it. Anyway, so I was trying this out, and how I ended up using it was just all over the face. I used it on the eyes, I used it for contour and blush, and highlight. And so I was just making as much use of the palette. And I think it is like a multi-use palette, so you can use it on the eyes. There is one that's supposed to be a finishing powder, and I don't really use it for the finishing powder. I think I use the one you're supposed to use for bronze on my eyes as like the outside corner maybe, but I was using almost all the colors on my eyes too. And so it made a fun look, and it works, and it's versatile for that. And I think it'd be great for like traveling, you know, your very bougie luxury travel palette you can take with you. But I'm still ranking it a little bit low just because the colors in there are not the typical colors I'm going to wear on me all the time, especially in an eyeshadow palette too. So, but yeah, but it's still a great idea for that minimalist, travel-friendly idea. And then another one that I know it's not a palette, guys. It's another use of eyeshadow. This is more of like an eyeshadow pigment, and it's also from Medusa's Makeup. And it also came in a box gifted to me. And so it has this really fun, loose pigment in it that's like blue sparkles on the eyes. So adorable. Loved it. So I just put it on by itself. Like I didn't really have a base. I just do my like primer or concealer. I tend to use concealer a lot as primer, and I know it's not really primer, but that's usually what I put on my eyes. So I put down my base, and then all I did was I just tapped on this as a topper, and it's so pretty. So loved it. I'm still ranking it lower just because it's not part of a palette. It's only one color, you know, so this isn't going to be for like all the time or anything. All right, the next one we have, I've lost track of what number we're on, so I'm putting the number on the screen, but I can't remember where we're at in the countdown. The Violet Voss Disco Drip Palette, and so I was honestly thinking about decluttering this one. I got it in Ipsy, and honestly, a lot of my declutters end up being like Ipsy palettes, ones especially like from the Ipsy Glam Bag. I don't tend to hold on to those. So I went to go declutter it, but I was like, well, let me try it out. Like before I go to declutter something and I think I'm going to declutter, I want to kind of try it one last time, just make sure. So I tried it out, and y'all, I was like, oh, never mind, because what ended up happening was I think I used these colors right here, and it made this gorgeous light purple, but I forgot that these colors on the top here are like these sheer, it's like a sheer formula. It makes this like these light sheer like neons and pastels, and they're so pretty. Now the bottom ones, as you see, are more of your neutrals and stuff and warmer tones, and on the top you have more of like these cooler tones that are almost like this rainbow feel. And I forgot that I love how this like kind of sheer, like these colors all blend out and together. And then I saw myself on camera when I was wearing it, and I was like, okay, never mind, that's so pretty, I'm keeping it. So I held on to it. I'm glad I did, and I'm really loving this palette still. It's just not ranking as high as some of these others because we're kind of starting to get into now some favorites. All right, so hear me out, guys, on how low this one's ranking. This has been a favorite, and I know that this is definitely a favorite of others. And whenever I do wear it on screen, everybody's like, oh my gosh, I love your eyeshadow. What's that? It's just that it's not as everyday for me wearable. It's like, I love it still, but I don't just wear purple all the time. I do tend towards my neutrals. I'm sorry, guys. I really do. Or like pinks. Like I'm like neutrals and pinks is me. I do love purples and lilacs, but they're not my everyday. So I did wear my ColourPop Lilac You a lot, which I love. I love this palette so much. I really do. But it really pretty much just makes those like bright, light lavenders. And I wore it, especially when I was doing my Huda Beauty Ube video, trying out all the new Ube products, talking about all the purple, and I wanted my eyes to kind of go with the theme. So I wore it for that, and I still liked it, but it was just, it's still a little purple for me, usually, for like going out places and having bright purple on my eyes. I'm just usually not that person. And I should have kind of told you guys from the start that my style, you know, I rank everything based on like my style and my wearability. I like color, but I like it more for the special occasions and the specialty looks and stuff. But I tend towards very just everydays and shimmers and really pretty, you know, so that's kind of more my style. Next, we have the Huda Beauty Creamy Obsessions palette, and I just recently got this back at the Black Friday sales and everything, and I had been wanting this palette like all year last year, or since she came out with it, and so when I finally got it, I was absolutely delighted. I still love it, but I think I like it a little less now that I own it, and I think it's because I always create the same look with it. I don't feel like there's that many looks to do with it and I'm not always, I think when I really wanted it, I was in this like kind of mauvey cool tone mood, and I'm not always in that mood now, so I'm in a different mood now. I don't know. So I'm not as like into it as I was before, but I still really like it, and I'm still really glad I got it. I actually got it for as a free gift with my Black Friday purchase that I made through her site. So I was thrilled. But so anyway, yeah, I like it. I just feel like I don't make many looks though. It's not super versatile. And then my Tartelette Juicy from Tarte, and we got this in an Ipsy icon box, last icon box round. And this was such a share palette for sure. All the pinks and neutrals, like I said, that are me. I think that my only criticism with this palette is that I need some lighter shades. I always need like a good shimmer. And so let me show you here. This one right here is the one I always use on the lid, and it's a little more like warmer yellowy tone than I want. Like I need another one that's like a really light pink shimmer or a light white or silver for my taste on this. So that's my only criticism, is that I tend to only be able to make like the shimmers in this, or just those pinks down there at the bottom, which are a little darker than I usually go on my shimmers, unless I'm making like a darker halo eye or something like that. If I want to go with the golds, yes, I can do it. But of course, I like the light shimmers. And so that's why I'm not ranking it quite as high as I normally would. But for all the pinks that are in here, I love it. So it definitely is still up there as a favorite palette. Next one I'm actually wearing today on my eyes. So this is Il Maquillage, the, what's the name of these? Color Boss Squad. This one's in the shade set Workaholic. I just did my eyeshadow declutter, and I was mentioning how I had like 3 of these that we've gotten in Ipsy. They just kept giving us these little quads and just in different shades. And then also they gave us the big master quad, or not quad, but master palette in the icon box. And the other ones were all just so repetitive for me, but this one was my favorite, and it's still a favorite. I really love this as an everyday. It has such a good formula, very professional formula in my opinion, and this is what I wear when I just need a little something on the eyes, but not too much. It just has that like polished look. It's really pretty, and of course it has that perfect color of shimmer that I like, but it has enough of like the darker brown to give you a little edge too, and this warm tone transition color here. So, and if you just wanted to go with the mattes, you could, but of course I don't. That's unheard of. I do the shimmer, of course. So anyway, I still just love this as my like everyday palette. And of course it's also, even though it's a little bulkier, it's like my bougie travel palette, because it's still somewhat convenient to travel with and stuff, but it's like my high-end travel with it. I do love the packaging, and I love Il Maquillage, so it's still up there. Okay, another of this idea with the minimalist, or like multi-use, really using my palettes. This is a face palette, not an eyeshadow palette, but I put it on my eyes, so I'm gonna count it. And that is the new, not new, it's new to me, the Natasha Denona Berry Pop Cheek Trio. I'm so excited though, guys. I really want to get her new blushes that just came out, because they have the same packaging, and I feel like it's going to be a similar idea to this. But I am so in love with this palette, and I got it in the Trend Mood this last time, and guys, oh, I need to take the mirror thing off. I mean, first of all, the packaging is definitely what draws me on it, but the colors in here are perfect too. Definitely more berry shades. They really aren't as dark as you think. Like, you know, you blend them out and they really come out to be perfect. And a lot of times I have to be very careful with like the mauves and berry tones because they really show off my age spots on my cheeks, like right where the blush placement goes for me. But this one doesn't do that to me. And I don't know if it's like her formula or what. So I just love it. But I'm talking about cheeks right now, and I should be talking about eyes. But I ended up putting it on the eyes too. I just did like a full face with this. And I think I wore it at Christmas, like Christmas Eve. And I was so in love with the look. Now I know that Christmas Eve wasn't in January, but my last palette rankings video was like a little before Christmas because I was trying to get all my content done before I left for Costa Rica right after Christmas. So I'm kind of doing all the palettes I've worn since that video. And so this one is what I'm counting, but I absolutely loved it as a full face. It all just coordinated so well together. You know, use that highlight on the lid to give it a little pop, and then use your pink colors there kind of at the edges, and it just makes a perfect look with the eyes too, and goes perfectly with the rest of the face. And then I had on her amazing lip. Oh my gosh. We're gonna have to talk about that lip in another video. The lipstick is amazing with it, and the lip liner. Like, I can't sing praises enough. So the whole entire look together was just, I loved it. All right, and then we've got everybody's classic, which is the Naked 3 palette, Urban Decay. Still love this one, and you will probably be seeing more Urban Decay from me because they're one of the cruelty-free brands. So I will be sticking with them, and everything they make is just, I do love their stuff. Anyway, we're going to be talking about these in some of my future videos here, if I can ever get to it. But still love this palette. This is your cool tone one. You got the pinks, and you've got the more like blues, the mauves, and a little smokier eye. So I usually make either one of two looks with this, either like more on the pinks, those light pinks, or the smoky eye. Not a lot in between. This time I went with a little bit more of the pinks, just those lighter shades, but I did pop in this one. I think I put that little gray, touch of gray in there too. So a little bit of both this time. I was going rogue. Okay, you guys saw this in my shorts. This is going to be another one that's multi-use, that was not made for the eyes, that I used on the eyes. I used all over. I would honestly rank this as my number one for this month if it was a true eyeshadow palette, or if it had more. I don't know. With my number ones though, they're just so good that this fell further down. The Ofra. This is the Ofra Midi Palette Blossom Blush, and this was in Ipsy, or was it BoxyCharm, y'all? Yeah, we got this in BoxyCharm this last month, and I cannot tell you guys how much I love this thing. It is so gorgeous, and of course it's really supposed to be for the cheeks. And you know, and then that little pop of highlighter there. But when you put this on the eyes, I will show you guys the look, but also maybe put the reel in here, or the short. I also put it on the shorts and in my reels because it was just so beautiful. This is Cher. This is my ultimate look, is that pink pop of highlight. So beautiful. And then when you put it on the rest of the face, it all just goes together so seamlessly. It's like Pretty Pink Princess. So I loved this. I had a hard time ranking this further down, but I think it was just because everything above it is more fuller palettes that I can make so many more looks with and do a lot of options, whereas this, I'm going to do the same thing every time. All right, next, I finally am getting to the palettes. Sorry, guys. But this is Natasha Denona Glam Palette, and this is another one kind of like with the Creamy Obsessions, that I was in this like mood when I really wanted it and purchased it. Like, I wanted those kind of grungy, grayish, cool tone ideas. But then, like, whenever I go to use it, I don't always feel like it looks as, it just is a little like bland on me usually when I use it. So I've made a few fun looks with it, but I really needed to come up with some more like really good looks for this. Really, I need to go do like a great like smoky, sexy look with it. And I just usually each day I'm just throwing on an everyday look because I don't have a lot of time to just play with looks to fit into film and all of that. And I need to get back to it. So I still like this palette because there's just so much you can do with it. I just need to do more with it. All right, I still really loved your, this is by far like a favorite purchase of what I've done from them. And I think I just love, these are all my colors too. Love those pinks. It looks like it's gonna make this burgundy, but I don't, it makes the perfect like backdrop for the pinks with it. And then that pop of shimmer there. So you know how I said that like my colors are basically some neutrals and pinks, and I gotta have a pop of like white or light pink or something shimmer. This has it all. Well, it doesn't really have neutrals, I guess, but this has it all for when I'm going with the pink tones. And it really does come off just so elegant. I just feel bougie and luxurious every time that I play with this palette. So I still love my Dior, I'm not gonna lie, even though they're not cruelty free. And then for those of you who watched my Wayne Goss unboxing, it was the Lucky Bags from Beautylish, and I went with the Wayne Goss one. And I got like a full thing of Wayne Goss makeup. And this is the first time I've ever tried Wayne Goss, and I loved him. I am so in love with his makeup. You guys, I'm so impressed. So I just want to update y'all that like everything I tried was incredible, formula wise and all. So this was the eyeshadow palette that I did get. It looks dirty in there because I stuck my finger in it, I think. But it is so professional quality. Like I can just tell the difference in this quality that it's made by like a makeup artist. And I mean, it makes your standard like kind of neutrals, a little bit warmer tone. Everything in his box was more on like the peachy warm tone side. But it just made a stunning classic like neutrals look. And so this is definitely amazing for an everyday. It's so luxurious. It feels so quality. The packaging is sleek. The formula is incredible. Like absolutely wonderful ratings on this. So I will definitely be doing more Wayne Goss. So definitely am ranking this really high. But I still love this palette from Tarte, so I'm ranking just a little higher only because this is like, it's just a fun, like I want to reach for it and play with it. And it's just, it's so cute. But I think it's like the formula on this is so buttery too, that it's just, it goes on like butter. And this one does lean a little warmer toned on me. Now there are a few cooler tone shades in there. You can see more of those like almost purple in there. I guess I just don't reach for them. I need to play with those more, but I always end up making like a warmer tone look and really love it. All right, we are starting to get down to the top 5, the hardest to choose from. The ones oh, these have my heart. All right, so number 5 is the P. Louise Expensive Taste, this huge palette here. And she does make some of these like storybook palettes sometimes that are like entire books. It is so much fun. So here is the last one we got this last month. I think it was maybe December's box. You open it and turn the pages and there's a palette on each side. So this one was a little bit more warm toned, okay? And so I was expecting my face, like the colors of my eyes, to match the palette. They did not. Everything started turning purple, y'all. I don't know what in the world happened. And like for me, probably this is my favorite page because it's, you know, lighter, more delicate, so pretty, like these like kind of frosted yellowy, neutrally champagne colors and stuff. I'm like, I absolutely love this page. But you can make darker ones and more warm tone ones. Like you have kind of a little bit more of like a copper page and golds. And then you have much darker, like your browns. Still kind of copper, but brown. So I really thought, you know, that was the color scheme that I was going to follow. And I picked colors kind of from every page, honestly, on my eyes all at once. Like I didn't stick with just one palette in here. they were turning purple. Like everything was turning purple tones. But it was more on these colors that were darker, like from this page especially. And once you started spreading that on, it was like you had this purple base. So it was really hard to cover over that. I started trying to go lighter and lighter and more with the yellows and more warm. And I'm like, what's going on? So I finally ended up with a look that was kind of a hodgepodge to kind of cancel out the purple, because I really just wasn't expecting the purple. And so I ended up with a look I liked, and it looked cool and pretty on my eyes. I just wasn't expecting it. And so I don't know what happened. I still love it. I love, love, love these palettes so much. They're definitely favorites. They're keepers. And because I knew that we have Icon Box coming, Icon Box month and Ipsy coming, and that this is the palette that they are probably going to be giving in that one. I put it on and tried it on for you guys to show you an idea of it for those who don't own it or haven't seen it. So this is the ABH Nouveau palette. This continues to be up there as one of my top, like top favorites of all. And it continues to be. It's going to be so good with spring coming, but I love it for winter too. And I love it for fall. I feel like it's one of those you can use like year round, because it makes these like kind of rusty, neutrally warming tone colors for like the fall. But then it makes these bright like mints and blues and pinks and light pinks, and then that pop of purple for the spring. And you can also do that in the winter, because I feel like sometimes you want to go blue and kind of frosty in the winter. And in the summer, sometimes you want those like bright blues too. So like, yeah, I just feel like it's such a good palette. I love this palette. I love the formula. So it is up there, isn't it? What is this, number 3, number 4? I think we're ranking this number 4. All right, then we've got another P. Louise. This one, I think this one was November's. It's called My Frosty Fairy Tale. And this is more like a notebook. And you open it up, and then here is the palette. Let me put it where you can see it better. Okay, is that not the cutest? I am so in love with this palette, y'all. So all the frosty blues, but the neutrals too. And then you have these highlights over here on the side. I think the highlights just get me. So I had to play with it, fell in love, absolutely love it. So yeah, and I did end up putting like the highlights on the eyes, of course, as eyeshadow on the lids. And I put it on my cheeks too. Stunning, just stunning. So it's been fabulous for winter. This is what I want to reach for so bad. Again, the buttery formula. I don't feel like my P. Louise base with this made the colors turn weird though. Like this one was the colors I was expecting. So I don't know what gives on that other one. But anyway, so this is number 3. It was hard not to make this number 1 because it is such an amazing palette, but it's just that my number 2 and my number 1 are such favorites that, yeah, I struggled. So let's figure out what's number 2 and number 1. Have you guessed by now? All right, so both my number 2 and number 1 are from the same brand. That's going to give you another clue when you see number 2. Huda Beauty Pretty Grunge is my number 2. I'm sorry, I love it. I love it. Got this one, I think, at Black Friday also on her Black Friday deals. I had been wanting this for a year for sure. This I've had that eye on forever. Now this one does make a lot of purples too, just so you know. Like when you look at it, you don't think that because it looks like it has more like pinks, maybe even a pop of peach almost, a little pop of yellow maybe, and some whites or something. Because she has those multi-shimmer colors in there, sometimes you don't always know what the color is, you know? And then you know that there's some blacks, and you've got a cream black in there too. But it does end up making more purples on a lot of these shades. So this is your like mauves and purples and cool tones. And I feel like she makes a lot of those, doesn't she? That are these like grungy styles, honestly. and I'm just so drawn to them. But this palette is so versatile. Like, I've been able to make so many looks that I love, and I just reach for this over and over and over again. I have fallen in love with it. I'm so glad I finally got to get it. So yeah, it is by far so up there. So this is my number 2 that I wore this last month. So that probably means, since you got that clue, I'm sure you figured out what my number 1 is by now, and you're not gonna be surprised because it was my number 1 last month, and y'all know I love this palette. This is probably the most popular that there was last year, like at the end of the year, and that is the Icy Nude from Huda Beauty. Still number 1 for me. Oh my gosh, y'all. This palette is just so pretty. I don't know how anybody could dislike this palette. Even if you're not a like cool tone fan, like I feel like it would transform you. And it's perfect for winter still right now. Like, I can't get over the frosties, and every time I wear it, I feel so pretty. I feel like a princess. I feel like a winter princess, like Elsa. Like, I want to put my little white earmuffs on with it and just bask in the snow. And we just got our snow. So of course I broke it out for our winter snow in Florida, of all things. If you haven't been around to hear all the excitement, we got snow in Florida. It was crazy. 4 inches. I cannot believe it. It's like the most it's ever snowed here, probably ever. We rarely ever get snow. And so of course I had to break this out. It was the perfect palette for it. Makes so many fun looks. I think I went a little bit more like pink frosty this time, but you can go blue frosty, white frosty, neutral frosty, pink frosty, like you name it, but you're going frosty. You're going frosty in this. So yeah, number 1, it still reigns. It still reigns. We'll see how it does as we start moving into spring. Honestly, I feel like it's still a really good spring palette too, because you got a lot of the pastels and stuff, you know? So I feel like I'm probably going to keep loving it through the spring as well. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it goes as we get into summer, if it's going to stay number 1 or not. You'll just have to stay tuned and keep watching to find out. And let me know if you still enjoy this video. And yeah, you'll want to stick around if you love all things eyeshadow palettes. I do some reviews on palettes often. Love to create some different looks, and I love to do this rankings video. We do declutters on them fairly often too, as they pile up. So you'll want to stick around for all that. And of course, if conscious beauty and beauty boxes too are your thing, you'll want to stick around too. Pop that subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.